Hi guys, welcome back to another booktube video. I'm Shah and this is Thoroughly Enjoyed Books. Today I'm bringing you a TBR, but this is no ordinary TBR. You guys are picking my TBR blindly. A couple of weeks ago I put out a tweet asking people to send me coordinates for my bookshelf. Behind me I have 2 bookshelves and altogether I have 8 bookshelves on here, so 8 individual shelves full of books, ignoring this one down here, which is my Harry Potter bookshelf. So I have 8 shelves, as well as the maximum on each shelf being 25 books. I asked you guys to pick me 2 numbers, one of which was between 1 and 8 to pick the shelf number, and the other being between 1 and 25 to pick the book number on that shelf. There will be a little bit of overlay, I think, on some of these shelves, because not every shelf has got 25 books on them. So for example, if somebody picked the number 23 and the shelf that was on didn't have 23 books, I would keep counting onto the shelf that is next to it. So I'm really excited to do this TBR. I've wanted to do this for a really long time. I've had a little think what will happen if books come up that I have already read. Unless I've read them recently, I'm actually going to reread them and add them to my TBR pile. So I had 9 responses to the tweet, which means I'm going to have 9 books on this TBR. I have no doubt that I'm not going to read all these books, especially because I have been in a bit of a reading slump lately. There is a video on that to come very soon. But other than that, I will get a nice stack of books that I can just read over the next couple of months. The first coordinates I have are from my friend Vibka, who has given me shelf 3, book number 7. So the first book I have is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I have had this book for a really long time, ever since I think it was like year 7 at school, which would have been 13 years ago. This is actually my Nana's copy. She gave me this and wrote, "To Charlotte, lots of love, Nanny, enjoy." I wish she'd put the year that she had given me this, but I'm pretty sure that it was about year 7 or year 8, because one of the reasons I wanted to read this book was the 6th formers at my school could take out the classics at the library at school, but not the ordinary Joes like me. And I remember a friend of mine who was in 6th form at the time, and I believe she was in her last year when I was in my first year, ended up borrowing a book for me, and then my Nana saw I was reading it, so she gave me her copy. The next person who has given me a set of coordinates is A Court of Tales on Twitter. They have given me shelf number 6, book number 3. The book that they have picked out for me is The Art of Asking by Amanda Palmer. I have wanted to read this book for so long. I feel like I'm going to say this about every single book here. Maybe my channel should have been called I'm really looking forward to reading this book. This is a non-fiction memoir from Amanda Palmer, all about how she learned to ask for the help that she needs. And there's all sorts of different things in here about asking for help with money, asking for help when you're on your period and you need a tampon, which I remember when I read the first chapter of this, and all sorts of different things about how asking for help isn't a bad thing. I've heard a lot of people since I bought this book talk about it on BookTube and have raved about it, so I'm very much looking forward to getting to this one. The next set of coordinates I have been given are by my friend Lane, who I speak to over on Twitter. They have given me the coordinates 6 and 21. Because I had already picked a book off that shelf just in the previous one, I still counted the gap where that book had been as a book. And number 21 on that shelf was A Good Symmetries by Jeanette Winterson. I adore Jeanette Winterson. She's my all-time favourite author, and this is another book I've been meaning to get to. I found this in a charity shop a few years ago, and I have just meant to read it ever since then. Since I'm going back to uni in September, I nearly said December, September, I really want to do my thesis on Jeanette Winterson or something around female sexuality in like fairy tale-esque novels. So I'm very much looking forward to getting to this one as soon as I can. Jeanette Winterson's books are so short. This looks quite chunky, but it's actually quite short. And I know I will fly through this when I sit down to read it. Thank you, Lane. Then I got coordinates off Miguel, who gave me shelf 3, book 21. The book that Miguel has picked out for me is Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell, another book that I have had for years. I've had this book since before I went to university. I've actually had this book so long I cannot remember what it is about. I know that it's about 6 different point of views all coming together and it gets quite complicated. I know there's a film out of this. I don't know if the film was meant to be any good or not. I also know this was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize when it came out, so it's supposed to be really good. However, this one is quite hefty, so I'm not quite sure if this is one that I will get to or whether it's one that I will wait and see. But thank you, Miguel. Next, my friend Amber picked shelf 7, book 14. So let's have a look. You've picked me a short book, Amber. Thank you very much. I need it because these are quite chunky. She has picked A Girl is a Half-Formed Thing by Emma McBride. I actually really wanted to read this book because my friend Shannon recently hauled this and said this is a book she wanted to read for, I think she's put it in her Reading Rush TBR. So I really wanted to get to this one. Maybe I'll put it in my Reading Rush TBR as well, if it's a couple of challenges. This won the Bailey's Women's Prize in 2014, which is quite a while ago now. I feel like this book just came out, but no, it came out 5 years ago. This book has been on my radar for a really long time. It is written phonetically, I believe, so it's quite difficult to read. However, it's supposed to be extraordinary. I cannot wait. Then Bookworm Neil gave me some coordinates. I think he misunderstood the game a little bit at first. He gave me the number 5. However, he confirmed that we can go with shelf 5, book 5. Another really hefty book, and one that has been on my shelf for a long time, is The Marriage Plot by Jeffrey Eugenides. I read The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides 5 years ago now, 6 years ago. I read it my first year of uni, adored it, and I've had this one on my bookshelf ever since I read that. I think it was really, really cheap in like FOP or a charity shop or somewhere where it didn't cost me much at all. I believe this is about a group of friends from university who then leave, and something about marriage. Who knows? It has been so long since I bought this book that I have zero clues what it is about. I literally just picked it up because I loved The Virgin Suicides and wanted to read more Jeffrey Eugenides. So thank you, Neil, for picking this. The next person to give me a book was a lady called Rachel Werner, and she has given me the coordinates 8 and 8. Nearly a book that I really was desperate to read, but she has picked me out The Revolutionary Road by Richard Yates. I'm getting a lot of very literary books on this challenge, so I think it's going to be quite a hefty read a month, and I do not think I'm going to get to read any of these at all. But I literally know it's about the breakdown of a marriage, and I know the film starred Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, which is literally the only reason I ever bought this book. So I've just realised that somebody gave me the incorrect coordinates. They gave me 9 and 10. I do not have 9 bookshelves. I have my Harry Potter bookshelf, and I just checked to see whether the next Harry Potter book that I'm reading comes in the 10th slot, and it doesn't quite get there. So unfortunately I'm going to have to skip theirs and just move on to the last one, which is 4 and 10, which was given to me by a lady called Gemma. And the final book for my TBR this month is The Undomestic Goddess by Sophie Kinsella. A nice easy one, and this might actually be the one that I start with because this will be a nice ease back into reading after my really long reading slump. All of Sophie Kinsella's books are really nice cheesy romances, and sometimes that is all you need. This is about a woman who accidentally finds herself being a housekeeper, however she is completely and utterly undomesticated. Sounds like a ride, sounds really wild, something I definitely will be getting my teeth into. So these are the 8 books that you guys picked for me to read this month based on the coordinates on the bookshelves. I know for a fact I am not getting to all of these. I probably have to narrow it down just a little bit, but I actually think the one that I'm most looking forward to out of this pile is Jane Eyre. I've been meaning to get an excuse to read Jane Eyre for a really long time. I do love a good classic. So just to make this a little bit less daunting, I've separated them into 2 piles of the books I think I will get around to, and the books that might have to wait just a little bit longer, although there is the reading rush coming up at the end of the month, and these might be good for that as well. So the ones I've decided I want to read most of all are Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, The Undomestic Goddess by Sophie Kinsella, Good Symmetries by Jeanette Winterson, and The Art of Asking by Amanda Palmer. I hope you guys have picked me a really good pile of books. They are books that I probably wouldn't have gotten around to right away either if I had to pick them myself. So I really enjoyed that. Let me know down below if you have read any of the books that I've showed you today. And if you have, what have you thought of them? Let me know which ones you want me to get around to first as well. And if you'd like reviews of them all, please do let me know in the comments down below. As usual, I will leave all my links to Twitter, Goodreads and Instagram in the description box. And I cannot wait to see you in another video very, very soon. Thanks for watching Thoroughly Enjoyed Books. Bye.